Now, let's get into politics, shall we? Because we're joined by the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice, who joins us this morning. Very good morning to you, Richard.
Good morning to you. It's dark but mild here on Victoria Gardens.
Well, thank you very much for joining us in the pitch black this morning. Look, can we start by talking about President Trump, who overnight has filed a $10 billion lawsuit against the BBC. Are you supportive of that legal action?
Well, what I'm supportive of is the fact that President Trump is requesting and requiring much greater recognition within the BBC just how badly they got things wrong and the wholesale change that needs to take place. It's already resulted in the Director General and the head of news going, but there needs to be a wholesale clear out of the bias in the BBC, whether it's the bias against President Trump, whether it's the bias against the Jewish community. There's so many areas where the BBC has to do much, much better.
But if the BBC were to pay out $10 billion to President Trump, that could be the end of the BBC as we know it. Is that something that you'd be happy to see?
Well, look, there's much that's great about the BBC, but in the news section, they get things consistently wrong. And that's why wholesale reform is required. That's why we've said that we would reform the funding model for the BBC. And look, President Trump is making a serious point. He is quite rightly absolutely furious. Is he negotiating from a high level? Well, of course. Who knows where it'll end up? But what is absolutely certain is that wholesale reform of the BBC is required, including its funding model. And we at Reform have made that very plain and clear.
Can we talk about the situation in Bondi Beach, that horrific terror attack that we saw on Sunday morning? We've just been talking in the paper review there about the FBI in America. They have foiled a terrorist bombing in Los Angeles, believed to be a pro-Palestine extremist group that were planning to bomb LA in 5 different locations on New Year's Eve. When we are hearing chants, and have been hearing chants for years now, of globalise the intifada, is it any surprise that we see attacks like this? Do we need to ban those chants here in the UK?
Tragically, this is the consequence of weak, feeble, gutless leadership. Those chants are horrific, along with From the River to the Sea, that chant, and it has regrettably led to people feeling empowered to carry out vile, horrific acts of terrorism and anti-Semitism. I called for the marches to be banned very soon after, in the week after October the 7th, because I could see that they were inciting hatred and violence and anti-Semitism. Lawful, legal marches is part of a democracy, but that doesn't mean it gives you the right to be anti-Semitic or incite violence, and that's exactly what's happened. So yes, it's got to stop, and it requires an absolute crackdown across the West, actually, whether it's here in the UK, in America, tragically, as we've just seen in Australia. This goes on, and it won't stop until there's a proper deterrent.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally.
Richard, what would you say, what message would you give to the Jewish population of this country who are in genuine fear and they feel very isolated? Is there any reassurance that you can give them?
Well, I spoke at the vigil outside the Houses of Parliament yesterday evening, celebrating the Hanukkah, which of course is lighting the candles and sort of using light as a strength to pierce through and to break through and to overcome the darkness of anti-Semitism, of hatred, and against violence. And in a sense, that is that's the message, that's the support. Reform UK have been rock solid with the Jewish community, and I speak up in the House of Commons frequently about this. And we have to reassure the Jewish community that they are safe in London, across the whole of the UK. And at the moment, sadly, because of this weak government, that has not become the case.
What's your response to the resident doctors? They are going on strike tomorrow after voting that would go ahead. They'll be striking tomorrow for 5 days. Do you consider them to be selfish for going on strike when we're talking about a surge in superflu?
Yes, it is selfish. It is absolutely outrageous. And worse than that, I'm now hearing example. I spoke to the Health Secretary in the House of Commons yesterday, cited the example of a resident doctor who's not a member of the BMA union, who said that this doctor was not going to go on strike, but was going to continue working, was pressured and bullied into going on strike, and told that a locum doctor at vast extra expense to the NHS had already been booked to replace this resident doctor. This is the sort of outrageous closed shop tactics that this union is embarking upon. They should be ashamed of themselves. It's absolutely outrageous, and I think most of the country is raging furious with them alongside the Health Secretary.
But what went wrong, Richard? I mean, we're all led to believe this was all settled last year, and then here's a whole bunch of complaints and things that obviously haven't been detailed and settled. What actually has gone wrong? Is it just about money?
Oh, it's just greed. It's pure greed, and the fact that the massive 29% pay award last year had no conditions attached to it, or performance requirements, productivity requirements, and the BMA, they smelt weakness and they are leveraging that weakness. It followed the huge increase in pay to the transport workers, and this socialist Labour government have just been wasting taxpayers' cash wherever you look, and this is just another example of that.
One example of that's quoted in the press today: the foreign aid budget, and how as much as £300 million of it could be going to terrorist organisations. I don't know if you've had a chance to see that story or make a comment on it.
I've not seen that specific story. It doesn't surprise me, sadly. That's why Reform UK would basically scrap the whole of the foreign aid budget. It's just been completely misused by woke civil servants at the Foreign Office, and we need to bring it right back to emergency aid on a contingency basis for specific situations. Then we can start again. But at the moment, this is just another abuse of taxpayers' cash.
I just want to put that to our viewers and listeners. You heard what Richard Tice had to say there. Scrap the foreign aid budget, use it as an emergency contingency. If there's a disaster, if there's an earthquake, something awful, flooding or whatever, yes, then pay towards that. But this nonsense where we hand out money and don't even know where it goes to, where it's not seen to be accountable, just want your views on that. Have your say on that this morning.
Mr. Tice, just before we let you go, just wanted to ask you about our British farmers, because you may have seen Keir Starmer yesterday answering questions at the liaison committee. He was made aware that some farmers will take their own lives in order to avoid those changes to inheritance tax. It does look as though he is going to continue to go ahead with those changes. What's your response to that?
Well, sadly, I know this is the case. I raised it in the House of Commons shortly after the family farms tax was announced. It should be scrapped. It's an appalling policy. I'm happy to talk about that more to the press. I've got a press conference at 11 o'clock this morning talking about the broken special educational needs system that's bankrupting councils and more besides. So I would urge people to listen into that, and we'll talk more about all of this.
And Richard, we've just had some breaking news. UK unemployment rate has risen again to 5.1%. That's in the 3 months of October. You'll remember it was up from 5% in the 3 months to September. So unemployment up again. What's your response to that?
I'm not surprised at all, because of this hopeless Chancellor imposing extra national insurance contributions. Employers are terrified, particularly small businesses, of taking new people on because of the Employment Rights Bill. And so, yes, unemployment is going up, and businesses are hiring fewer people, tragically, fewer young people. This is the result of a hard socialist government that has not a clue what it's doing. And there's no GDP growth, borrowing's through the roof, spending's through the roof, and now we've got unemployment rising relentlessly month after month.
Okay. Richard Tice, really appreciate you standing out there in the dark this morning for us. Richard Tice is the Deputy Leader of Reform UK. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.